the problem is and I saw it again yesterday. Americans are offering, like the Victor Bout dude is really bad.
This guy is not one that you want to let go.
Really bad, and it's like,
in fact,
you're offering.
He only has like another 14 years on his sentence, and you're thinking that's not enough.
No.
Right? This guy went out of his way to find the most heinous people that hated Americans more than the life itself, and were willing to do anything. They were willing to wear this stuff and just roll into whatever building they could to blow up as many Americans as possible. This was the kind of guys that this Victor Bout or Boot was seeking out. All right, you couldn't have a more heinous criminal. It sounds. I don't mean to make light of this, but it is true that trading Brittany Griner as a political prisoner for Victor Boot is worse, more lopsided than Joe Barry Carroll for the cheat and the rights of Kevin McHale. Who's making this deal? Red Auerbach? For the Russians? My God.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
And a very pleasant good morning, everybody. Great to be with you here on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest and one Mike Lubitz with you till 9 o'clock Eastern today. Any sign of Brett Tessler today? Is that going to be happening on the show? How are you, Mike Lubitz? 8:30? Okay.
I was trying to tell you, and then you went into all these tangents. Yes, 8:30, the one and only Brett Tessler. I think he's heading back down from Wisconsin, I think, today.
Yes, I saw some social media posts. I mean, this guy knows how to live, man. He's having a good time. Of course, when you have 20 guys in the NFL at today's salaries and you're getting 3% of all of that money, and largely guaranteed now as compared to days gone by when a guy would sign a 12-year deal, get cut on the second day of practice, and end up making taxi squad money the rest of his career. That's not happening anymore. So, he must be doing pretty well for himself. But living large, man. I mean, every day you see him, he's out there playing Whistling Straits in the morning, and then going to a Brewers game in the afternoon, heads over to Chicago, catches a night game at Wrigley, stops in at Gibson's for a couple of cocktails and a steak, and brings the whole family with him. It's fantastic. So a guy that's living large is our kind of guy, and well-deserved, worked his way up from nothing. I do remember the humble beginnings. I used to hang out with Brett. We used to play tennis together when he lived in a relatively small place, like a one-bedroom townhouse, might have been two. Was sitting there, and his only client was Trent Gamble, the guy on the Dolphins who was a special teams, stalwart. Trent Gamble, real hard-hitting, honest guy that's going to go out there and give you everything that he's got. Although, unfortunately, from a talent standpoint, he wasn't quite up there with the upper echelon of NFL players, but carved out a few years in the National Football League. Nicest guy in the world, but he had to be making like league minimum, right? $400,000 at the time.
Oh yeah, Trent Gamble, yes.
So here was Tessler trying to scratch it out on like $12,000 a year, which he was getting from Trent Gamble and whatever else he was doing. I don't know if he was waiting tables somewhere, but no, he was focused on this. Focused, Lubie. That's what it's all about, focus. And he stuck to his guns, and it worked out well for him. So now he's our NFL guy every Tuesday here on the show, and he'll be joining us about 8:30 on his way back from Wisconsin, where he spends his summers, and he's going to be back here firmly entrenched in all of the NFL business that goes on during training camps. I mean, I would think there'll be a lot of change on these rosters. No, the Dolphins are talking about trading guys already. Where they have, imagine this, they have an abundance of wide receivers.
Isn't that funny?
Too many guys.
It sounds so weird.
My goodness, we haven't had that feeling here since 1969. Clayton and Duper, my friend. And not more was part of that contingency. All right. It surprised this got by Jim Sarney. I don't know how. I mean, it got by our guy. He watches a lot of TV. He, of course, did the media criticism in addition to many other fine things when he was writing for the South Florida Sun-Sentinel. I think it might have been the Fort Lauderdale Sentinel back then, Sun-Sentinel. But anyway, Jim Sarney, does it go all the way back to... No, Sarney's not that old. He's a young man. He's a good guy. It's in the heyday of the sports section there with Mayo and all of the boys. Dave Hyde was in there. You had Ira Winderman, one of the great basketball writers ever to come along, actually. I don't know that anybody is more detailed than Ira Winderman, who's been covering the Miami Heat for the Sun-Sentinel since their inception, since like 1988. Wasn't it their first season, 88, 89?
Sure.
I believe so. Yeah, Ronnie Cycli getting the ball. Hey, Ronnie, you going to throw it out of there? Ronnie Cycli was the Bermuda Triangle of offense. He really was. The ball would go into the post and disappear. Like, wow, what happened to those guys, man? They were flying in. I thought they were going to be here by 9:20. No sign of them, right? Anything on the radar? Nothing.
God.
Guys are cutting. They're running around in circles. Ron Rothstein's pulling what's left of his hair out. Come on, Ronnie. Who dribbled the ball more in the low post, Mark Jackson or Ronnie Cycli? Ronnie Cycli didn't really dribble the ball because when he put it on the floor, it was a liability. It really was. But I mean, he got a lot out of himself. He didn't start playing basketball. He was a son of some very wealthy people. Ended up at Syracuse there. And look, you could see when Jimmy B got Ronnie Cycli, he was a relatively raw talent. Is that a fair statement? Relatively raw talent. And then he got to the pros as a first-round pick of the Miami Heat, number 9 overall. How did they only end up with the 9th pick? I mean, they do everything in their power to just shaft an expansion team. Yep. The only league that really treats expansion teams like gold is the National Hockey League because they're so happy. We found another city. Hey, Gary. Yeah, they want a team in Las Vegas. Can you believe it? Oh,
just happy.
We have a problem with that? Nah, we'll take their money. We'll go.
Exactly.
Turned out to be fantastic, right? Vegas really embraces its team. Remember when that was taboo? Vegas? Wow, you mentioned Vegas to a commissioner. You go, Joe, we got to get out of here. He said Vegas. That's not happening anymore. But I'm surprised it's got by Sony. I'm watching a fascinating show last night. It was actually, I guess you could have seen it on any number of networks. They were all over this thing. I mean, I have never seen so many networks air the same show, and that is from the Discovery Channel, Naked and Afraid, Mar-a-Lago. Which, wow. I mean, Watergate was one thing.
Same show.
They sent like 1,000 cops over there to this resort that Trumpster owns to try and get back some paperwork that he just happened to hobble off from the White House with after his presidency was over. I don't know what level of negotiations there were to try and retrieve this stuff back without having to go through these means. But, of course, Donnie was cashing in on this, with his own social media channel saying, well, look at this persecution.
Yeah. It was like
turn over the fucking documents. What is the problem?
They had a legal warrant. Like I don't.
Why are you keeping them? Yeah.
First of all, the movie made is something I've never even thought a president would do. But the fact that they there's one group of people saying this is blasphemy. It's like, wow, what do you mean blasphemy? Like if a guy does something, so you want someone to do something illegal and not investigate it? Like, isn't that the blasphemy? Like, isn't that blasphemous?
I don't know. I mean, for it to come to that point, yeah, you would have to imagine that they had gone through a lot. I mean, it wasn't just some arbitrary thing where some judge said, "Oh, I'll sign off on that." Half of these judges, if not more, were appointed by Trump himself anyway. But and look, I don't know what's at the bottom of the whole beef. It's just kind of weird to turn on the television set and to see Mar-a-Lago. There's a bunch of cops there, and you're thinking, "Oh my God, what happened there?" Some nutbag came in there with a gun or something, and it's the FBI raiding Trump's house, taking his underwear out of his drawer and looking for these classified documents. And, of course, they played it off against a clip of Trump on his campaign, which he must have been referencing Hillary in the emails, where he said, that there will be, such attention paid to the protection of classified documents. And believe me, during my administration, which he ended up having, his administration there, no one will be above the law in this regard.
Okay.
So they have him saying that as he's also tweeting out what a joke this is, that, the government's on a witch hunt trying to find these documents that he took out of the White House in 15 boxes and just happened to stash them somewhere in Mar-a-Lago, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, fascinating. And so I made the mistake of doing this, Louie. I just did it as an experiment because you know that anything involving a Trumpster is going to create some kind of divide. And both, I'm not sure that I consider myself an extremist on this because I don't. But, the people that are behind it, already I'm seeing on my little social media post that I put up about 10 minutes ago, every Democrat is a scumbag. These are some of the comments that I'm getting.
From what?
Now, I stated no position. I just said, here's a new show, very exciting, Naked and Afraid, Mar-a-Lago. Because you can picture the Trumpster in a bathroom there at 6 a.m. They don't usually do these raids at noon. It's usually first thing in the morning, man. Battering rams to the door. I don't know that it went to that extreme. I don't think so. I think it all went as a fairly peaceful transaction, unlike the election results, which, ended up with this whole January 6th thing. But I believe this to be unrelated to all of that. And just a simple matter that whatever it is, whoever archives this stuff, was saying, hey, these documents are missing and we know where they are. So let's go get them.
I don't understand what people would want to happen. Like, The FBI doesn't just go, we think, like, when they do something like this, especially for our next president,
Yeah.
they know what they're
It's
doing.
never happened where an
No,
ex-president's
never.
home has been raided. Never.
Well, because you leave. President's never fought leaving.
They still
Like,
protect the president with Secret Service agents. They're
the
still
rest of his
assigned to
life.
Mar-a-Lago. Make sure some nutbag doesn't come there and actually shoot the guy or something, or try to. It's crazy, but no, that was very interesting yesterday. I thought it was a fascinating show, and I just was picturing Trumpster coming out of the shower with some elaborate, Hefner-like robe on, and going, and the housekeeper or whatever, whoever's running the show there says, "Donald, somebody's at the door." That Naked and Afraid is wicked, though. I was watching one the other day. It kind of makes me squirm a little bit. The whole concept of Naked and Afraid.
show.
You ever watch that show on Discovery Channel, where they turn two people loose in like some jungle and they have no clothes? They got like a knife, a Swiss Army knife, and something that they can catch fish in. Some makeshift net. That's it, man. No shoes, no nothing. Walking on snakes, scorpions. I mean, everything is sniping at you. Mosquitoes the size of clinchers flying around your head all day long, and you're trying to sleep and eat there. And last, like, I don't know, they keep them out there for, I guess it's 14 days. Can you imagine? I couldn't go 14 days without going to the kitchen. That's for sure. Much less, taking a dump in the woods somewhere and then trying to find something to eat, among the lizards and the snakes that are out there. And you have to catch them with your bare hands and then snap their heads off. I mean, forget about that. But yeah, it's a weird show. And then they had one, the last thing I saw a clip of one where they were just turning the people loose, like in 4 different groups in like Arctic temperatures. It was Naked and Afraid, Frozen Tundra or something. Like they were playing the Packers in Green Bay. With a lousy defensive line. And and Paul Hornung and Jim Taylor are going to be running all over him while Vince Lombardi is on the sideline going, you know what? Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. But anyway, that was very, very intriguing yesterday. And I know I'll get hammered for even putting something up like that, because does it not imply, the facetious headline there, that I'm in favor? I mean, I don't know. Would you read it that way? The post that I put on Facebook, that I'm actually, happy about. I wish none of this stuff had happened. I really do. It would be nice if Trump became president and did just a tremendous, smooth job, and we reelected him again if he was doing a great job and the country was prospering and everything would be okay. That would have been nice, right? It would have been happy. That's
Look, they
what I
would
did.
have been fine. It's like the Dolphin fans that are rooting against Tua. Like, you may think Tua's not good, fine, but if Tua's good, won't you be happy? Like,
wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, exactly. Maybe he was a mistake in the draft.
Turned
That's
out
possible.
to be sane and a good president. I may have not liked all his policies because of how I lean, but I would have been like, oh, good for him. Whatever, good for him. I wouldn't have been rooting for him to be this. Like, he proved me right. Like, I didn't want to be right.
Never seen anything like this. I never anticipated seeing anything like this in my lifetime, right? All of a sudden, Elliot Ness is showing up at Mar-a-Lago. Exactly. What do you think about that, Ness? Frank Nitti was the greatest criminal of all time, Frank Nitti, from the Untouchable series. Wow. I mean, and he wasn't even the main guy, Nitti. But the way he just said it with that tripping sarcasm. What do you think about that, Ness? And, there was Elliot Ness, Mr. Good, Mr. America, Mr. I'm out here to make sure that everything goes the right way and everybody does the right thing. And he's looking at Nitti and he's going, you got me again, Frank. I got to say, you got me again. I know you weren't there on St. Valentine's Day. In fact, I'm going to give you a free pass. All right. Talk about deceptive headlines. And this is one. See, now, I don't know. Will this resort to personal attacks? Was that a mistake to put that up there on Facebook? Will I end up in Facebook jail for even implying that there was an element of comedy in this whole thing? Which is, it's funny because I think in that clip that you played at the top of the show here, it was talking about, well, we don't mean to be facetious or make light of a situation. Yes, we make light of all situations.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's our job, is to shed light and illumination on all of these bizarre situations that go on, mostly derived from the world of sport. But every now and then we got to traipse into other territory there, even though people would say, hey, stick to what you know, which is nothing. And we appreciate that, because we believe that to be the truth. All right, so here's the headline on the crawl yesterday, Lubie. You know where I'm going with this, I think, but or you will in short order. All right. The headline in the crawl on ESPN, it comes up tennis. All right. And it says Serena moves on to second round in Toronto with straight set victory. Okay. In essence, Lubie, that's true.
Mm.
She moved to the second round with a straight set win. She won 2 straight sets, in a row out of the 2 out of 3 system. 2 sets in a row over this woman named like Pizzazz Diaz or something, who it turns out was a qualifier, which, I don't understand this. Maybe we should consult Harvey Fialkoff on this. It seems odd to me that somebody who no longer has a ranking, I don't think Serena Williams, if she's ranked, it's like 400 or something because she doesn't have any points. She hasn't played.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean she's the 400th best tennis player in the world. I mean, she's probably somewhere in the top. Is she in the top 50 anymore? I don't know. Serena Williams. I mean, once brilliant and probably should go down. I mean, with all due respect to Billie Jean King and all of the greats, Martina and Chris Evert, Serena Williams was likely, I don't know, is there an argument there? Was she the greatest female tennis player of all time? Serena
She's the
Williams.
greatest woman ever, and you could argue she's the greatest tennis player ever if you want to.
You could say woman athlete, maybe even. Put her in that category, no? Holy Althea Gibson, what are we talking about?
No, I mean, she was as dominant over her sport as any athlete ever. She was.
Oh, and tremendous. I mean, just unbeatable. She was an unbeatable force. She was one of those players that was so far ahead of the pack that she overwhelmed. I mean, these poor little, waif-like tennis players that are coming from Romania are getting mowed down like they don't even exist. It was like she was going out there and just putting on a display by herself. Yep. Most of the time with Serena Williams. And when she was in competitive matches, she was such an intense competitor, whether you like the way she went about her business or not. But she was so strong-willed. She seldom, even, as we often say, the real mark of a champion, can you win when you're not on your best stuff in some of these individual sports where you don't have somebody to bail you out. There's not going to be a guy that comes up after you struck out 4 times in a game in World Series Game 4, Alex Rodriguez. There's not going to be somebody that comes up there and hits a grand slam, pinch hitting in the 9th inning, coming off the bench when he just got called up in September from AAA to bail you out. You're out there by yourself. So you could say, I don't know. You could argue that. I'm sure you could throw some other names out there. But you could make a very solid case that Serena Williams was the greatest female athlete of all time in any sport, and that she certainly was the greatest female tennis player of all time, and probably better than a lot of men that played the game during her time where she was at the height of her talents and abilities. But she's not there anymore, and that's okay. You know what? I don't have a problem with it. I know we've discussed it a lot. Should she even be out there? Is it an embarrassment? And, what I saw in the prelims to the Wimbledon tournament, when she came out there, she really was a bloated shack, just out of shape, not ready to play. And she played in a doubles match, and everybody wants to, it's like Tiger Woods shoots in 81, and everybody goes, hey, wow, look at that. When he made that putt on 14? And you're thinking, yeah, but the bottom line is he's not competitive anymore. It's not happening. And Serena was losing, in early rounds of tournaments. She looked completely out of shape, right? She lost to that nondescript schmenk. That girl actually made a run. Remember the Slicer and Dicer, the Vegematic chick, who was Asian but somehow was French? I don't know. Do you remember?
I feel like you're going to dig a hole.
It was like William Hung or something, came out of nowhere and won like American Idol. And she ended up winning a couple of rounds in that tournament.
And was it Harmony Tan?
Yes. Tan. I should remember her name, but there would be little reason to, except that she beat Serena that day.
Yes.
And then she did win a couple of matches that really surprised me because I thought she couldn't beat anybody. I wouldn't have even minded taking a crack at her. And my, last effort playing tennis was last night, where I was life and death to come back and end up in a dead heat with Dr. Jerry, my 71-year-old friend who, unfortunately has the knees of a complete cripple. I went Monty Stratton on him. I mean, and I feel guilty, right? Throwing the drop shot in there.
Going after him.
It happens to be an appropriate shot, as evidenced by Carlos Alcaraz, who can hit howitzers on every shot, either side, and yet he loves to throw the dropper in there, and it's extremely effective for him. Because the guy is back pinned against the wall there, impaled to the fence. He's right up there against, some sign for a bank. and he's got the imprint, Bank National on his back, and then all of a sudden this guy throws in the little dropper, a little shredder, and goes just over the net, and maybe even bounces back on his side. But you shouldn't be doing that to like a guy that comes to the courts and says, "There's not a single body part that I have that doesn't hurt right now." It's like, what are you saying, Dr. Jerry? You want me to just hit every ball right back to you in the middle of the court? I mean, no, he's not. He's not really like that.
Nice
I don't
and
mean
easy.
to diminish the competitive spirit of my partner there on Monday nights. But yeah, okay. So is she gonna go out there? Is she better than the average player? Yes. Should she be entitled to go out there and play as much as she wants? Yeah, she's one of the great champions if she feels she can do it. But somehow, I mean, the way they set these tournaments up, she gets a qualifier. Unknown qualifier, right? To qualify to get into the tournament, even though she naturally got an invitation and a free pass in there. But how does she end up playing like an unranked player in the first round when she's not ranked herself? Shouldn't she be going against one of the higher seeds? Because they know that they want Serena in the tournament for as long as she can last. Is that possible?
100%. No, that's 100% true. I just don't know how they rig it. Like, I would love to talk to someone who has a clue about how they.
Yeah, that's a little strange to me. I mean, both tournaments that I've seen her in, she drew somebody that was ranked lower than she is when she doesn't have any ranking herself. Regardless of the fact that it's Serena Williams, and obviously she's very good, even as somewhat of a has-been at this point. So anyway, it seems like I don't know if she's in any better shape. Who am I to criticize that? But it didn't look like she was in top form, and she comes out there for this match. And this girl, I mean, for the headline to say Serena moves on in Toronto after straight set win, it does not tell the story of what was going on out there.
That's what it said.
Well, I mean, and if you're going to capsulize it, there was nothing wrong with that. All of that information was essentially true, but what a bloodbath this was for Serena to win this in straight sets. Now it happens a lot where you have an upstart, and we see it so many times. And maybe they're serving for the match, and they haven't been broken the entire time. Then all of a sudden, boom! Here's two double faults. A lollipop of a second serve that gets whacked back for a winner on the first shot, and then something that she tosses into the net on a simple shot, and now all of a sudden it's 5-5, and the match continues. There was a lot of that going on. Now the girl that she played, whose name was like something Diaz, but it was like a double last name. All right, like Pizzazz Diaz or something. I don't know. It's a really weird name. She gave an incredible performance against Serena Williams. She was great. She did everything she possibly could. Naturally, you're a qualifier coming into a tournament in Toronto, Canada, and you're in the first round, and your opponent is Serena Williams. You would have to think that as the great Tony Segreto, who will be with us tomorrow, would say, that the moment might be overwhelmingly consuming, and that you were just going to lose based on the fact that if you're looking across the court and it's Serena, for God's sake. No? Did you get this chick's name?
Pizzazz Diaz.
I told you it was something like that.
Yeah,
they thought I was making this up.
To make sure you're not doing anything that's going to get us in trouble.
Hallucinogenics? Yeah. It's me and Aaron, man. Hey, Aaron, you got any more of that shit? That was really good, man. I feel a lot better about myself now, no matter what I'm doing. No, this woman gave her. There was a 20-minute game of Serena serving where Pizzazz Diaz had I don't know, a monumental number of break points. She just could, and she would just miss. I mean, like by millimeters. She came within an eyelash of knocking Serena out in this first round of the tournament. And yet, if you just read the headline, you would think Serena just easily cruised past some unknown and now is back on her game and was ready to win the U.S. Open. I hope people send in all of the money that they have in their pockets. Here I am. I'm Mr. FanDuel right now. Every dime you have, I want you to send it in on Serena Williams to win the U.S. Open, because that money is going up in smoke. And what we need to do with these pools, ladies and gentlemen, is fuel them with sucker money. This is what every commissioner in every league is thinking right now. Would it be a surprise if Adam Silver and Gary Bettman and Rob Manfred and I hate to say it, maybe even Niraj, were all cashing giant tickets because they were steering people into making sucker bets on FanDuel and DraftKings while they knew all along what was going to happen in these games? What do you think?
Oh,
and
God.
Urbana Pete Rose. By the way, Pete got badgered. Not just. I mean, they let the gambling thing go, and they were just absolutely hammering him about this 14-year-old girl he supposedly had an affair with. And Pete's answer was a little bit weak, I got to say. I'm a Pete Rose fan because I did some things with Pete back in the day. And, he's a degenerate gambler. And maybe some of the things that he did weren't particularly pretty. I mean, I don't know about the betting on baseball. That was obviously a rule that he was just in direct, total violation of. But we know what the sickness can do, Lubie. And some people have it to a much higher degree than is healthy for them. Okay? I don't feel I'm at that point yet. Yet my friend Craig, when I was at the track on Friday, he's brought this up before. He said, how much you think it is lifetime?
Why ask that question?
I came here to have a good time, man.
Why do you guys ask that question? Like, there's nothing good.
Because it's a horrible number to even contemplate.
How much have
you lost lifetime gambling?
If it was such a big number that scared you, you would stop, though. So it must not be that scary if you're going to keep adding.
Believe me, I thought of this so many times back when appliances were cheaper and you'd lose $400 at the track and say, man, I could have bought like a refrigerator with that.
Pretty much.
Something. I mean, I just left a refrigerator at the track. You know what? If they dealt in commodities, there might be there'd be a parade of appliances going out there, right? You don't think Larry the Leaper has contemplated selling his refrigerator? The wife comes home with the groceries. There's no fridge there.
You don't think
I got $200 for it. I couldn't believe this horse got wired. It's like, what? No, but I mean, now, it's ridiculous, right? Because I had to buy a fridge a couple of months ago, and, the place we bought had its original appliances in here from like 1958. Yep. So, and some of them are still functioning, right? So I put up whatever cash I had to buy the place, so I wouldn't have, any bills to pay. And, it was like, surprised me. It was like $2 for like a crappy run-of-the-mill refrigerator.
Yep.
$2.
Yep.
What has happened to this world, Lubie? How are people going to negotiate and navigate their way through it? I feel for my grandchildren. I'm going to have to start putting together. See, that $1 million that I lost probably lifetime, I could have put into a trust fund for my grandkids.
Yes.
The haunting voices of my parents. They both rest in peace.
Did your dad?
You're going to be sorry one day.
I know your mom gave you crap. Did your dad? I don't see your dad giving you crap though. Like I see your dad being. Hey, Jeffrey.
He wasn't a big fan of gambling, but he knew I worked hard, so that was okay. Because I did start working when I was 14, earning my own cash. So whatever I was losing, at least it was mine.
Yours. Yeah.
It wasn't like I was hawking my father's watch, so that I could go out there and bet the Yankees. Well, it was probably under consideration at some point.
I'm a slow
pay off a debt. And anyway, a misleading headline. Serena did not breeze into this second round in Toronto. And I would imagine if she plays anybody of any significance, she would be very hard-pressed. One thing that I noticed, and this was a woman with the most wicked serve. I mean, think of all the giant, big servers in tennis. They weren't always the most successful. I mean, there were guys that were very good, and at the upper edge, certainly Roger Federer is no slouch when it comes to serving. Correct? Djokovic, I mean, he can put the hammer down. This guy that's on the rise now that's a fan favorite, Lubie, you're going to find yourself rooting for Nick Kyrgios pretty soon. Going to be in the U.S. Open and should be among the favorites because he's actually playing some real good tennis all of a sudden. Could he have had one of those Andre Agassi epiphanies and yet still be a madman? Where he figured out that a little bit of dedication to the sport, whatever little dedication you want to put into it, and maybe just kind of concentrating a little bit when you're out there performing, might lead you at 27, which this guy is. Didn't it seem like he was already a has-been, Nick Kyrgios? He's coming back, though.
Yeah, I forgot about him, so yeah. That would be has-been stat.
But yeah, on the hard courts, when a guy's serving the ball 130 miles an hour on the second serve, which he'll do, right? And then he'll throw in one underhand. But, the servers are going to be dominant. So, it certainly is a big asset. But Serena, who is overwhelmingly dominant in this category as a women's tennis player, I would have to think she has the highest clockings ever in terms of, serves that have been measured by jugs guns. Yet, yesterday, I was throwing a lot of lollipops in there on that second serve, Lubie. One of these. Like she was, don't want to reference a Trumpster again. Remember when he was lobbing the paper towels there? Wasn't that sort of insulting? Like he was shooting baskets. Here you go, you poor people. Here you go. Wipe your nose. Don't get me started.
It was Puerto Rico. like mocking him. They said one of the worst earns ever.
Right. He's like, all of a sudden, he's Kevin Durant out there, which, by the way, how about this Durant story? Isn't that great?
I love it. I think it's the greatest. I just love that the Nets really were like, we'll just wait it out. He'll want to stay. It's like when a guy comes out with a trade request, you're just leaving yourself to look like that's the problem with all this is people think it makes Durant look bad. It makes them look bad to me. He asked for a trade, and
it's a disgrace for my favorite borough of New York, Brooklyn, where I grew up.
What do you think?
A disgrace.
Trade the guy. Like he wants out trade.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. Like
all those years of playing marbles there in the dirt, flipping baseball cards, playing punch ball, stick ball, dodging cars, riding our bikes down the block there in Myrtle Avenue, pulling the chain on what sounded like a complete facsimile, a total facsimile of a police and or fire siren. And the cars would part ways, and then there was a group of 8-year-olds on Schwinn's. I loved it, man. I mean, there was a character building, upbringing that I don't know that a lot of people missed it. I guess, you can only live your own life. But I do think that it was an asset to me to grow up on the streets of Brooklyn there, where, and this is an unfortunate thing. And I think it's part of what's wrong with, not just this country, but the world in general is that we as kids had to manufacture our own fun. And we went outside and did it by interacting with other people. And so you learned about, getting along with people, maybe even people that you didn't particularly care for. You learned about getting along with them. Now, collecting money from them after, like a loss. I mean, think about that. You're in money games at 8 years old.
I can't think about that. It didn't dawn on us.
Yeah, I mean, if there wasn't a bet on a game, it wasn't really a game, and 8 years old, yeah.
I never did that ever. We were in college playing ball, and I didn't put money on.
I'd be more reluctant to do it today than I was then, because I was life and death to end up in a 5-all draw with Dr. Jerry last night. We never got to the second set because it took so long to play the first one. Unbelievable. Right? I mean, think about that. We only played 10 games of tennis. It took us an hour and a half. And it wasn't like this was world-class stuff.
Oh, my God.
You know how you're kind of hoping maybe you play well for a little while if you go out there, you play any tennis or any ball for that matter, and you may be hoping that people on the next court say, whoa, those guys can play. None of that was happening last night. There were some 6-year-olds taking lessons, and they were hitting the ball better than Dr. Jerry and me. That's the way it goes. But anyway, I mean, Brooklyn disgraced by this. I mean, and what kind of demand is that? You fire the GM and Steve Nash.
Yeah.
Is he not above reproach? Now, everybody says that Nash is horrible as a coach.
He's horrendous. That's what's weird to me is them defending Nash. It's like, you knew it was a stupid hire. Like, that wasn't that
his idea? I mean, wasn't that part of the equation?
It was Durant Irving. Remember Durant Irving? Like, it doesn't matter who coaches. We're going to coach ourselves. Like,
yes.
You're going to coach yourself there, Kyrie.
So now, they're blaming the coach. Or like, if he's here, I'm out of here. This town is not big enough. New York City. Think about that, Lubie. Is not big enough for the two of us. That's what Durant was saying about Sean Marks, the general manager of the Brooklyn Nets, who put together exactly what he wanted. Did he not? You wanted James Harden? I got you James Harden. You wanted Kyrie? Here's Kyrie. Kevin? Hey, you want to sit out of here? Here's $50 million. And now you can't say that Durant didn't deliver. I mean, he gave it everything he had, and you would have to take that into consideration if you were going to all of a sudden say, hey, what an asshole for making a demand like that. But, what player, think about that. Can you imagine like Whitey Ford coming into the owner of the team, his office and saying, hey, I want you to fire the GM and, you know what, Yogi's got to go. It's crazy. Anyway, so that doesn't look like it's a favorable situation, Olivia. What does that mean? Is Pat Riley right now drawing something up?
Yeah, I think it's great for the Heat. I think it's the Heat are right in the middle. That's why the Heat haven't they didn't extend Hero, because if you extend Hero, you can't trade him, just like with the Suns do a Booker. And same thing with Ayton. It looks good for the Heat because they've kept Robinson, they've kept Lowry, who's now getting in shape. They re-signed Oladipo, so they have pieces to go and get a Durant. I mean, it looks good. I don't know if I want a Durant for what you might have to give up for him at this age of his career. That's annoying. At this age of his career. But
I just sent you a message. You were crackling a little bit. I know. I didn't mean to distract you there.
No,
you were right
I'm
in the
not
middle of a brilliant dissertation on basketball here.
I still am. I mean, I'm trying. I don't know what else to do. But like,
You got to get out of the kitchen. I mean, you had it solved yesterday. That was great.
I'm in the same place I was yesterday. The internet's just not great in my house. But it looks good for the Heat. We'll see what happens. The Rileys wanted Durant. We'll see if that.
I don't know.
We'll see if it happens.
You know what? It's getting a little old with Durant. As much fun. The Heat would be one of the few places maybe that he would fit in right now, right? Because he seems a little sour, doesn't he, Kevin Durant? I mean, a little bit dour, a little bit sour. Great ball player, no question. Brilliant career. I wasn't one that jumped on him for saying, hey, he took the easy way out by going to the Warriors. Well, what the hell, right? I mean, when you showed up at the park, did you not want to be on the team that was going to hold the court all night? Of course you did, because it was more fun.
Yep.
Right? You didn't have to worry. The pressure wasn't really on you to carry the load so much. I mean, you had other guys that could always come through. That's the beauty of team sports, as opposed to, like we said, when you're out there by yourself and you're the upstart trying to beat Serena Williams, guess what? There's nobody to pass the ball to make that last shot. You're going to have to do it yourself. Yeah. And so, I don't, I never begrudged Kevin Durant for going to the Golden State Warriors. In fact, I wish he had stayed there, because I like super teams. I just really do. When you were watching them play, it was a pleasure. It was like, going back to the early days when Naismith put the first peach basket up there and said, why don't we call it basketball? You're like, okay. That game has disappeared. It really has. All right. This is no surprise. One more thing here before we cut to, and I just said I was going to revamp this thing a little bit and go a little bit more quickly through the first segment for you people out there that are looking for production and value, changes here in the show. Well, we want to try and make more money. That's really the key to all of that. But a big surprise here. Alabama is the number one team in the country, Lubie.
Shocker.
Way to go, Nick. Rat poison, right? He immediately condemned it. Right? We haven't proven nothing yet. Shut up, Nick. Take your 5-star burger All-Americans and get the fuck out of here. Right? That's all we could say. You know what? There are a few teams I root against every game they play, and Alabama's one of them. I just love seeing Nick lose. I don't know why. It's a rarity. But thank you, Georgia Bulldogs, and our good friend Southern Brian. Big fan of the video streaming here. The great Brian Buckley, now killing it in the real estate market. Whatever this guy touches turns to gold. He's amazing, man.
Nice.
He goes fishing. He catches the only fish, right? I mean, did you ever see anybody catch a fish off the beach ever in your lifetime?
Oh, no.
Whether you're on Jones Beach, Coney Island, down here in Jacksonville somewhere, you ever seen a guy cast in a line on the beach and they put it in that little holder and then they go back there playing with the kids? They never even get a bite. Nothing. Every now and then they give it one of these and they reel it in. They snag some swimmer's flipper and the guy's being dragged into the shore and you're saying, hey, well, what the hell are you doing, man? Can you see the sign there, Joe? No fishing. They should just take the ing off that. There's no fish there. Nobody ever catches one, right? Southern Brian has some lure that he found with a Ron Popeil pocket fisherman. And boom, cast it out there. Next thing you know, Moby Dick, man. Moby Dick. And we're not talking about the John Bonham drum solo. Incredible. All right, let me tell you about Hialeah Park.
Yes.
Great place. But Alabama, number one. There was a survey, and I read this before I came on the show here in my massive research that I do. And it was a CBS Sports line, which I go to, to just look up whatever the day's news is real quickly, and then back it up, of course, with a heavy dose of my New York Post. There's your research department here. There's nothing to hide. We don't have any 15 boxes. The feds don't need to show up at our door because we're not at Mar-a-Lago. But anyway, they were talking about who is the best college football team in each state, Lubie. In each state. Where do you think they went with the state of Florida?
I guess Miami.
I thought they were really kind of being wise guys. I don't know. I'm not sure that I buy this. I mean, you would think what? Best team in the state of Florida. Will it be the Florida Gators? Will it be the University of Miami, which everybody's raving about, including our own Tony Segreto? I mean, Tony, you can almost feel drool coming off of Tony's lips when he starts. No, really. I mean, it's okay. I mean, I'm glad he's enthusiastic about it because it's about time, right? And now, whether that enthusiasm has any basis in reality, I mean, we'll find out, but you would have to be somewhat encouraged, no, by whatever developments have gone on. At least either that or they have changed their PR department to one of just unparalleled excellence, where everything that comes out of there makes you believe that they're back. No? University of Miami?
I mean, they've done a lot. I mean, look, Tyler Van Dyke, a lot of people think it's going to be a Heisman candidate. So there's no reason.
Yes,
why.
I was willing to take a shot maybe. I mean, if he has some remarkable year, I believe he's got phenomenal odds to be the Heisman Trophy winner. Now, what is he? He's only going to be a sophomore?
He's a redshirt sophomore. Right? Redshirt sophomore. This is his third year there, second year playing.
All right. So, I mean, sophomores don't traditionally win the Heisman Trophy. It usually goes, to somebody that at least stuck around to what? Their junior year?
Well, that's the thing. Great players usually don't play 3 years anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, Bryce Young won a Heisman last year in his freshman year.
All right. Well, I mean, he's like something ridiculous, like 50 or 80 to 1 to win the Heisman Trophy.
He'll be there.
As opposed to the Alabama quarterback who's on the number one team who's eating that rat poison right now. Is Nick just miserable?
Yes. 100%.
Miserable.
For sure.
Or is it an act? Is it an act? I mean, is he secretly laughing like he pulls that serious face off after he gets done working and goes, man, like some clown in the circus, taking the makeup off and then all of a sudden going, hey, listen, Joe, this cheeseburger's cold, right? Just out there giving a little kid a balloon that he made into an animal with a big smile on his face and big floppy shoes. Behind a grease paint, the roar of the grease paint, my friend. That's what it's all about. Rat poison, then. And number one, the top team in Florida, Lubie, as according to this guy on the CBS Sports Line, is not the University of Miami. It is not them Guiders. It's not the Florida State Seminoles under your man Norvell, who you now want to condemn as being yet another in a long series of losers that have held that position since Jimbo Fisher said, you know what, eat me. I'm going to Texas A&M, which was deemed to be one of the more overrated teams in the current preseason ranking. Texas A&M. Okay.
Very overrated.
Notre Dame, Texas A&M.
Who would be?
Not uncommon.
UCF doesn't even have a good team. Is UCF good?
They have UCF as the number one team in the state. I found out, what is that? Like, are they going back in time or something?
I don't know.
How could the University of Miami, with all of the steam that's coming in, this is what pissed me off this morning, Louie. All of this steam. And I'm buying it. I want to buy it. I want Mario Cristobal to win. I'm sick and tired of, fielding the, position from different people about how they suck. I've expressed it myself. It'll never be the same. I don't think you can duplicate what the Canes did.
I mean, you don't have
in the 2 decades of dominance there.
Like I've talked about you, why can't they not be that but still be really good? Like why can't there be a middle? Or do they have to be the greatest program ever? Why can't they just contend?
Hey, Alabama wasn't this. I mean, for a long time, right? Not since the Bear. But what we caught on as the place to be as Saban was turning out 15 first-round picks out of the 32 that were taken. Guess what? It seems like a destination of choice if your mission was to go on to the pros and do it quickly, and while in very high regard, whether merited or not, because everybody looks good in an Alabama uniform when they're beating their shit out of virtually everybody. The scouts up in the stands there, after 4 beers are saying, hey, yeah, that guy on the line there that weighs 400 and runs a 3.6 40, he's pretty good. Anyway, so, I mean, Miami would have to become that. They were that at one point in time. Everybody wanted to come here. That's the thing. I don't know that they can establish that kind of factor again. And maybe, there's just too much competition now. People found out it's kind of like the gold rush. Was discovered, and once Schnelly pointed out and did it emphatically that these were fertile recruiting grounds, my friend.
Yep.
The word was out, because I wouldn't have thought that. I would have thought other areas would be. I mean, what I saw in Los Angeles when I was covering high school football out there, you would have thought these West Coast schools should win every national championship every year. You wouldn't have put Florida anywhere in the same breath as what was going on in Southern California, and yet. And even with the way the programs were run, these high school programs were right up there on a par with like JUCOs and to a lesser degree, actual big time college programs.
Yep.
There was a total dedication to it. It was incredible, right? We showed up at gym class, and the coach would say, "Anybody want to go out for the football team?" Not the case anymore, my friend. Here's a jockstrap. You're a wide receiver. Thanks. All right. All right, we're coming back with more. Hialeah Park. Got to tell you about the great people at Hialeah Park, and it's interesting to me because the weeks are going by so fast, Louie. I don't know about you. I mean, it's time just traveling.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah, I mean, 2022, man, is coming to an end.
It's crazy.
Pretty soon. So, I mean, it's insane, and you don't have a lot of time, to just sit there on your butt and think, well, geez, where can I go to have some fun? Just go out and do it, right? Never mind that bankroll, that final number might flash before your eyes. When you go to that great casino in the sky and you go, $1.5 million. Spend it while you got it, and take it down to Hialeah Park there, and try to parlay that cash into something that can turn into something meaningful, right? People are winning huge jackpots. Steve Calabro wouldn't have it any other way. He's absolutely fantastic. I love that guy. As I do, I mean, I just have a tremendous fondness and a deep love and respect for all of the people that I know at Hialeah Park. And I mean that in all sincerity because, it really does feel like a family of, people that have been there for a long, long time. And they take great pride. I mean, that's also part of it, right? Can you get like just a regular corporate worker to take tremendous pride in the presentation of the place itself? If you can do that, you're going to have a successful company. These guys live it, man. And they have for a long, long time. Frankie Fiore, the Brunettis, John Jr. and Steve, Dennis Testa. I mean, is synonymous with this place, and its inherent and intrinsic beauty that he's been able to perpetuate right through to today, while at the same time fusing in just one of the most glamorous and dazzling casinos that you will find anywhere here in South Florida. People are winning jackpots, like I said. They're winning cars. They're doing all kinds of stuff. Get a player's card. Great rewards program at Hialeah Park. I mean, they're really, really just fantastic the way they take care of the customer. And then, of course, our favorite part of the grounds there, the Champion Simulcasting Room. Great food and drink all over the place. Poker room is always hopping. It's just a great combination of all of your favorite things when it comes to entertainment and, of course, the pursuit of gambling happiness. It's a fantastic place. It's Hialeah Park. Put it on your social calendar. Always special events there. And make sure you make your plans to visit very soon. Beautiful Hialeah Park. All right, coming back with more here. The Defo Show. Jeff DeForest and Mike Lubie. It's very deceptive headline there on the crawl.
Yeah.
Serena advances to second round with straight set victory. Over a schmink who gave her everything that you could possibly want. You would have thought that, she was taking on Venus at the height of their greatness. Actually, those matches were never very good. That was a bad example.
Kick her ass every time.
Who was out there that was really challenging Serena, man? Sharapova, she used to eat Sharapova for breakfast.
I'm trying to think of anyone.
Well, I don't mean that. No, I don't mean that.
Oh, God.
All of a sudden, you got a big thing about, you said they were all lesbians. No, look, both of them have recently had babies, so strike that from the record. In fact, put that in one of those boxes that the feds just rounded up over Trump's place. Imagine going to the house of a guy. It wasn't like he was a president in the 1850s, and they thought, well, geez, we might be able to dig something up here that'll tell us what really happened, in the Civil War. I mean, this is, the guy just left office like a couple of years ago.
Yep.
Why would he still have this stuff though?
He's Trump.
What would he want with it? What do you think? I don't know. What's in there?
I'm trying to figure out that guy. I really did.
What would be in there that you would take this stuff home when nobody ever does this? Is it unprecedented? I don't know. I mean, and been sitting on it for like 2 years. My God.
He's paranoid.
Then they had a picture. I don't know if that was trumped up. Was that photoshopped?
Probably.
The picture of the documents in the toilet bowl there. That was great. Did you see that part of it?
Yes.
The implication was that Trump was flushing key documents down the White House toilet and got it all clogged up there. They had to call a plumber. Not those plumbers that were at the Watergate, but they might be appropriate. Anyway, I'm afraid to look on my social media page there on Facebook and see what the people have drummed up because I know there are like a lot of right-wing zealots.
But it was funny.
Probably misinterpreted what I was trying to do there, which was make a joke.
But you said it was funny. That was funny.
Yeah. All right. Coming back with more here in a moment. The Defo Show. Brett Tessler, the agent to the stars. I saw an interview with Andy Reid yesterday. He's looking good. You know what question never came up? You think this was by design, Lubie? What the fuck are you going to do without Tyreek Hill, Andy? What are you going to do? They never ask him that. I mean, what do you think? Was that one of those things where, the PR guy comes over to the people on their own network, NFL Network, and says, nothing about Hill? Wouldn't that be your most, imperative question to answer? What are you going to do without this guy in your offense? I mean, how's it going to work? You have a replacement for him, somebody you think is going to do the job. I mean, obviously, he's one of the most talented guys in the National Football League. A real, just spark on offense. What do you do? Never came up. It was like, maybe they danced all around it. All right, coming back with more. Not that we wouldn't have if we had Andy Reid on the show and they told us, hey, listen, nothing about Tyreek Hill. Back with more in a moment. Now that. It's 7:50. Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. You know, since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Mr. Pentangeli, were you a member of the Corleone family? Did you serve under Capo regime under Vito Corleone, also known as the Godfather?
I never knew no Godfather.
Mr. Pentangeli, you are contradicting a sworn statement you've previously made to me and signed. I ask you again, sir, here and now under oath, were you at any time a member of a crime organization headed by Michael Corleone?
I don't know nothing about that. Oh, I was in the olive oil business with his father, but that was a long time ago, that's all.
We have a sworn affidavit. We have it. Your sworn affidavit. That you murdered on the orders of Michael Corleone. Do you deny the confession?
Look, the FBI guy, they promised me a deal. So I made up a lot of stuff about Michael Corleone, because that's what they wanted. But it was all lies. Everything. And I kept saying, Michael Corleone did this, and Michael Corleone did that. So I said, yeah, sure.
It's now time for the Defo Show.
Somehow it's always appropriate. The Pentangeli testimony applies to whatever's going on in whatever news cycle we happen to be in. which right now is quite the cyclone effect. I almost feel like I'm one of the captains there on my other favorite binge-watching show besides the Discovery Channel's Naked and Afraid Mar-a-Lago. And that, of course, is Deadliest Catch, where essentially it's the same show every show. It doesn't matter. They're in season like 28, and they're all the same. They go out, they get swamped by waves, impossible conditions. They catch a bunch of crab. They make like $2 million. And all of the deckhands, these guys with like no teeth that can brave anything. I mean, you talk about rough seas. That would be the Bering Sea, where they fish for these crab. I mean, no matter whatever they charge you in a restaurant, if you watch Deadliest Catch, you're willing to throw the guy an extra 50. You really are. All right, I was trying to figure this out now because I'm getting a lot of questions here, and Andy, of course, is gone. He's gone in the direction of the macabre, which is what do you think the total really is, Deef? And that is, your loss is lifetime, and that is one of my theories, and I believe it to be true. That this is why all gamblers die with their mouths wide open, and that's because the last thing you see, the number flashes in front of you, and it's the amount of money you've lost lifetime gambling. And you're looking and going, whoa, wait a minute, man. That's a lot of commas. So, what kind of extrapolation could you do on this if you were going to, try and deduce what amount it really was? See, I don't know. I would have no idea. I've been gambling, I guess, for as far back as I can remember now. We used to play punch ball. It was $1 a man. It was 3-man teams, Lubie. So, you won $1 if you won a game. But $1 went a long way back then, son. Sounds like something your old man would say, right? Listen, son, $1 used to be $1 back then. It really was. Like $1 would buy you a lot. You could get really high end stuff, and it was inside of $1. Cars, were like $1,500. When I was growing up, can you imagine? With kind of a new thing, you would figure it'd be just, and that was considered expensive. Wow, $1,500. Who the hell has that? Are you kidding me? Roger Maris, man. They were going to give him $5,000 or something for the ball where he hit number 61. Remember that story?
Yep.
Where, Maris, the guy said, well, I could sell it for $5,000, but I'm willing to give it back to you. And he said, no, go ahead, keep it. Make the $5,000. You could probably use the money. But, that was like an awesome sum of cash then. But, all right. So even going back to that, if you count all of that, so gambling, I'm 71 now. Let's take it back to when I was 7. That would be my earliest recollections of being involved in any kind of monetary transaction where, you were either pitching quarters or doing something along those lines, betting $1 on a game, and so what is that? That's 64 years. Okay. So if I averaged, if I lost 10 grand a year, let's make a very conservative, estimate here. Cause I've been going to the track, every day since I was, 16, which is crazy. Not every day, but essentially, now, 10 grand a year is a little conservative. So if it was 20 grand a year and you were gambling for 64 years, that's $1.28 million. $1 million. Now imagine that flashes in front of you. And right before you're about to check out, everybody's hovering over the bed going, oh, we love you. We love you. Oh, my God, you were such a great guy. Ba, 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 ba. You know what? Or even if they're cursing you and damning you and saying that you should burn in hell, you royal piece of shit. You're in shock because there it is. There's the number right in front of you. $1.28 million. Oh, my God, Lubie. I hear my mother. Her voice is haunting me as we. Andy, why did you have to bring this up? Because you were close to meeting your maker just the other day. This guy was on his he was almost placed on a slab when he got to the hospital. Unbelievable. I'm glad he's okay. But to stir this kind of pot here, because I can hear the haunting voice of my mother saying, "Think of what you could have done with all of that money." I don't want to think about it, man.
Exactly. Who wants to think about that?
Get me Roger Goodell on the phone. Hey, Raj, what else can I bet on today in the NFL? Right? These prop bets for the season are insane. What have they done? They've just converted fantasy football, which was really how these things got started, right? FanDuel and DraftKings. They were offering fantasy football, organized fantasy football for money. Who were you competing against? The other people while they were just taking a little piece on the rake? Is that how they made their fortune? They were charging, some kind of a fee to be involved in the games? No. I mean, how did that work? Or were they actually paying out? That it had to be somewhat of a parimutuel type of pool, no, where it was the people's money that they were dispensing, only they were dispensing less of it.
Yes, 100%.
So what's happened now, it seems to me, with these prop bets, Lubie, is that it's kind of like fantasy football has just turned into total degeneracy football. And, they're asking you, I mean, now think about this. Why would I be aware that there was a proposition bet out there, the over-under number of touchdown passes from Mac fucking Jones? Who cares how many touchdown passes he throws? He's going to play for the Patriots this year. You're thinking the Patriots are burial city. Are they not? Maybe Belichick finally calls it quits. He snaps during the course of the season. He realizes, what am I doing? I got Matt Patricia calling plays? Hey, Matt! Throw the ball!
Exactly.
My God. I don't know. I mean, most of the projections for the New England Patriots are not particularly favorable. In fact, people see a bounce, even if there are advances made by Mac Jones. People in general, I mean, and who knows whether to go by these guys, because just yesterday, I'm reading, and I don't know if we referenced this on the show, but everybody liked the Cincinnati Reds at like plus 250 or whatever they were to beat the Mets last night. All right? Are you following this? Reds to beat the Mets. They all liked it based on the fact that the Mets had just come off this giant series where there were so many encouraging things, where they opened up 6 and a hook on the Atlanta Braves. They were going against a kid that they had traded, and he ended up now he was going against them in New York, where he was like a Long Island guy. And so this was his big coming home party. He's going to get a chance to seek revenge at Citi Field against the red-hot, smoking hot first place New York Mets. And he was going to rise to the occasion. Of course, the final was 5-1 Mets. No, it wouldn't have been like not necessarily a smart move to go with them on that, because you were going to have to lay like a hideous price on a baseball game. And that is how you get to the point where those total losses would be $1.28 million. Because in all likelihood, you would have taken the advice of these handicappers who had, once again, brilliant dissertations about why this was going to come about, Lubie, and then we're completely and totally dead wrong.
Look, you guys have told me that's why it's called gambling, not winning.
Yeah. Logic, I mean, has no business in sport. That's why these businessmen all fail. We would be successful as sports team owners, but we don't have the money to own a team. Almost every fan could fall into the same category, where you would be just absolutely tremendous as a sports team owner. Who doesn't have all the answers, Lubie? You were telling the people with the Florida Panthers what they needed to do to fix the holes in their unfortunately weak postseason game.
Honestly.
What were they, like 1 for 107 on the power play in the postseason? It was amazing. Mm-hmm. It reminded me of when Angel Cordero, somebody was talking about this with me the other day. I went out to Santa Anita. I was out at Santa Anita at the time. Cordero, one of my favorite writers of all time, and just a real character from New York. I think he shot a guy while he was out there on the track. No, that was supposedly he took a shot at one of his, I don't know if it was one of his ex-wives or his ex-wife or his current wife. Anyway, but he was always one of these guys that when you ran into, like certain boxers, right? Like you run into like Duran or something. And you feel like, hey, this guy really is like, the real deal. He's got this bravado, this machismo that just kind of exudes from everything that he does, right? Even if he's just like greeting a couple of, hey, Roberto. Cordero was like that. Everybody loved Cordero. It was a real character. Goes out to Santa Anita, and they had like a real top-notch jockey colony at Santa Anita at the time. I mean, really great riders, including the Pirate. And I think the Shoe was still riding back then, Bill Shoemaker and Sandy Hawley. I mean, it had some real great Hall of Fame riders. Gary Stevens. I mean, tremendous guys. The jockey colony was like 15 deep before you got to a guy, Fernando Toro, who was one of the great turf riders of all time. And so anyway, Cordero comes out there, right? And you're thinking, wow, this is going to be like a heavyweight fight here. He's going to be battling with the Shoe and Pink Eye for the riding title. He lost like 108 straight races.
Oh, geez.
Like, he was 0 for like 108. The great Angel Cordero. I don't know. I mean, what kind of fluke bad luck is that? How do you explain it? Was he just getting on pigs? He forgot how to ride? Seemed impossible. I don't know if he did much after that, because I think he went crawling back to New York City. And, that was a big thing, because the West Coast people really have, there's a big divide there, literally, not just the distance, the actual physical distance of the country, but the West Coast people and East Coast people really don't see eye to eye when it comes to sports. Do they, Lubie? I mean, really don't, right? New York, they all think they're better. Boston, they all think they're better. And the West Coast people are just a bunch of softies out there sipping Chardonnay, asking if you could pass the alfalfa sprouts, please.
Honestly.
When would you ever catch yourself at a table saying, could you please pass the alfalfa sprouts, unless you were somewhere in San Francisco? Come on. But tremendous bias. And, and that was unfortunate, this burial. But, getting back to the whole issue about how much money you lost lifetime, I don't know. I would hate to put that. This is the whole problem, is you don't want to think about it. I don't think you can allow yourself to think about it. Can you? Is that like the first thing they ask you at Gamblers Anonymous? How much are you down lifetime, you think there, Jeff? Is it Jeffrey or Jeff?
You just wear the number on your shirt.
They stamp it on your forehead like you get a face tattoo. Like you were in a hangover, yeah. You wake up in the morning and say, what's that schmutz on my face?
It's just a tattoo that's just there.
Yeah, it's a tattoo that says, go to hell and burn, you loser. No, logic, I mean, never really, plays into it, though. I mean, these guys have made very eloquent cases for the Reds over the Mets, and the Mets win it easily. And it shows you how tough it is. But, I don't know. I would have to think it was an excess. I don't want to say it, though. I mean, $1 million? Can I have pissed away $1 million lifetime gambling? Now, if you went by this, can you count the number of times that you won, like, over 10 grand in some session? On one hand, that answer is yes. In fact, probably like on 2 fingers. I don't know. So, that doesn't balance out the daily grind of like losing 200-300 every time you go out to the racetrack, where you justify it. And, you come home and you say, she says, how did you do? And you say, broke even. All right, how many people out there? Is it over 1 million lifetime? I mean, if you're out, you have to be up there in years to be in this situation. And then how regrettable is that overall? I mean, when you finally go to make peace with your maker, are you going to say, I didn't mean to blow that much cash, I swear to God. I could have left it to my grandchildren.
Exactly. Well,
I sound like I'm on peyote buttons today, man. I'm hanging out with like Aaron Rodgers, man. I'm coming to
I just don't
moments.
think Jesse and Kelly are expecting that, so I don't think you have to worry about that. Like, I think they know you well enough.
Oh, there'll be nothing. I mean, there'll be nothing there.
I think they're aware of what they're dealing with.
I mean, unless some major score comes along here in the next couple of months, I don't know. It's tough. Oh, by the way, I mean, we lost another great human being, according to all reports. I didn't know this woman, but, she seemed to be a very delightful lady and a woman of class and dignity, Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah, sad.
Unfortunately checked out. A long battle with various, I guess, cancer came and went for her more than once. I mean, and just had that kind of charm that was perfectly cast in that movie Grease with John Travolta. They really made that thing sizzle. And still like a classic today, right? So, no, but according to everybody, and whenever you saw her in interviews, did she not come off as just a classy and very humble and down-to-earth human being, Olivia Newton-John? Lubie, would you say that's true?
Yeah. I mean, I saw her in interviews throughout the years. She seemed beloved. I mean, I don't know how many other major roles she had, and people still held her in this like high esteem just from that one role. And then her awareness, I guess she was involved in cancer. She was still staying in the public eye.
Yeah.
Doing things that weren't acting. So, I mean, she was beloved.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, very adorable, type of person there. And obviously with the blonde hair and the whole thing, it was a type that absolutely ruined me throughout my entire life. That attraction to that particular look. Oh, my God. No, but she was a lovely person and very, very talented as well. Her songs were songs that will, forever be etched in the minds, and they pop up every now and then, and you're like start singing along with it.
Hundred
Kind of
percent.
like we were talking about with Debbie Boone there. With unfortunately in that case, you light up my life. All right, we're going to talk some NFL with Brett Tessler, the agent of the stars. That's coming up on the program. That interview with Andy Reid, was that a little ridiculous? They didn't ask him anything about Tyreek Hill's departure.
Oh, I didn't
I mean,
see this. He sat down in an interview and didn't talk about Tyreek Hill at all.
he didn't answer that many questions. I mean, and you would have figured a guy like Steve Mariucci, who's I think he does a good job as a commentator. No, Mooch, he's a very likable personality. Steve Mariucci, the former NFL coach. And, he was personable as a head coach and always seemed to be stylish. Kind of, what would you say? Not really a John Calipari, almost a Rick Pitino type, no? Mooch? No, he was even more outgoing than Pitino.
Yeah, he's fun.
Yeah. So anyway, you would think, obviously he's going to have a big-time rapport. But with Andy Reid, who was in a very good mood. It's practice going on there, and he thinks he has like a good team. Although they did make the illusion that wow, tough division, huh? The AFC West.
Oh, it's impossible.
We're always focused on the East because, of course, the Dolphins are there, and now everybody thinks the Bills are going to run away and hide. The Patriots have dominated the division forever. And who else is in it? The Jets. Sorry, Eric. They're already fucked, the New York Jets. That guy, Becton, big monster offensive lineman.
Is he hurt again?
Yeah. I mean, the report was that possibly like a serious injury to the same knee that he just recovered from, although a different type of injury. And they don't know yet what the answer is. But, this was a guy, it took him a year to come back from like a broken thumb. I mean, no, he doesn't heal well. This Becton, and he looked like a monster, didn't he, Mickey Becton, when he was playing that first year with the Jets? He was great. Then he got injured on like the first play, I think, of the regular season last year, and that was it. He was out for the year. Came back, and now he's hurt again. So here are the poor Jets, right? Just thinking maybe they're going to make an ascent. Although I'm not sure that I'm sold on your man Hack Wilson.
My man.
Point.
You liked him. I didn't like Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson, I don't know. I don't know what to make of him yet. It's very hard to tell because I don't think you can judge a player on being a New York Jet. I'm sorry to say this, Eric, but if your career begins with the New York Jets, especially the quarterback position, there's a good chance you're not very good to begin with because they picked you. But there's also a chance that you might, whatever shot you had of making it in the NFL was crushed by your early experiences with the New York Jets. I mean, they're horrible. They just are. So I don't know if they found a formula with this Robert Saleh yet. Do you believe? Everybody has them last in the division. If they do any better, it would be a surprise, would it not? New York Jets this year.
But look,
last in the AFC East.
We improved. The Dolphins have gone all in. The Patriots, everyone always gives them some hope, even if they're down. The Bills are a Super Bowl contender. So, I mean, the Jets, even being in the last, they can still win 6-7 games. Like I think they'll be better. They just aren't going to be a playoff team.
Yeah, but look at AFC West, right? Kansas City.
Now that's insane.
They have a shot to go to the Super Bowl. You would have to say you couldn't discount them even with the loss of Tyreek Hill. They're still a very good team. You have the Las Vegas Raiders, who everybody thinks has a shot this year, maybe to go all the way. They showed promise last year. A lot of fight in the Las Vegas Raiders last year, and now they have an even better team. And they endured, just tremendous turmoil last year also. But with, the stuff that happened off the field there, tragedy, all kinds of turmoil. You had Mike Mayock, I think, was still at the organization. Was he at the beginning of last year? When did they lunch, and finally, put the kibosh on Mike Mayock? As
Wasn't it at the end of the year, or was it?
Was it just after this year? Yeah,
I thought it was at the end of the year.
Okay, so there you go. I mean, another point of self-sabotage there, where they had Mike Mayock as their general manager, based on the fact that he spewed like a lot of stuff about
Exactly.
people that he was dead wrong about while he was in the announcing booth, to the point of being just a public nuisance. Well, no one was happier, right, than we were when Mike Mayock finally got that job, because that meant he was no longer going to be intruding on any broadcasts with his theories of verticality.
It was in January. It was like right after the season.
Oh, okay. All right. So they had to endure that also.
Yep.
And have made roster changes, including Devontae Adams. I mean, that's no small acquisition. With Derek Carr, who, the jury's still out on him, right? Showed signs of life last year, as at other times. And at other times, you revert back to thinking, what the hell? Is this his brother lining up with the Texans? That was still the greatest thing when they had, I guess, was it a promo where they had him lining up and there was no offensive line in front of him whatsoever? David Carr, man, you talk about getting flattened like a pancake when he was back there. That was a tragedy. But, okay, so you have the Raiders in that division, and now the Broncos are all excited because they think that they have this great team, and all of a sudden they have Russell Wilson. They have a real quarterback as opposed to Drew Lock.
Yep.
Who was no lock to do anything but make sure that you had a losing season. So they feel they're vastly improved and have taken that quantum leap forward that you need to be in contention for a Super Bowl title. And, trailing in there, drafting in as a sleeper team that could win it all are the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yep, your guy Herbert. Yep. Who's legit top 5 quarterback in the league. And then Mahomes. And that division's scary. They have 4 quarterbacks that could be top 10 in the league.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good. And we tend to zero in on this AFC East, which is it really a foregone conclusion that the Buffalo Bills just run away and hide in the AFC East this year? I would like to think that the Dolphins could make a challenge, and I don't know what's going to happen with the Patriots. Most people have negative anticipation about the Patriots season, saying that they're going to win less than their total at 8 and a hook. Most people. I read one handicapper. He hasn't hit a bet in 2 years.
What do you read?
There's your expertise, ladies and gentlemen. We're not trying to fake it here. I tell you one thing that we're very expert about is food and atmosphere. And we love having a great time. And that's why Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill is such a favorite spot for ours to talk about and also to experience. And we love the Jimmer also. Books coming out there with Dave Hyde, Swagger.
Yes, sir.
That's going to be great. We can't wait to get down there and discuss that with Jimmy Johnson. We had such a good time down there last time we were there. And we're treated to some of the great food and drink. And a wide variety of it was experienced by our crew. Would you not agree with that, Mike Lubitz? We had everything from the breakfast pizza. You had those pork nachos. Yep. I had, that Italian fisherman pizza, which was ridiculous. And then that was all I needed. Mustang had a bunch of like seafood dishes, including, I believe, like a grouper sandwich. That was off the chart, my friend. Off the chart. Mike Mayo's been celebrating National Sandwich Month. I mean, the sandwiches down there when it comes to seafood, there's nothing like it when you know it was just in the ocean like a few hours ago. That's kind of, what you get when you go to Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. Mile Marker 104, the Overseas Highway in Key Largo, just a short shot. Don't stop at some gas station and get one of those Stewart sandwiches that looks like it's encased in plutonium because, it finally hit you like, okay, I want to stop here, gas up, and get something to eat. Just keep on jogging. The very next stop is going to be Key Largo and Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, and treat yourself to some of the greatest food that you're going to find anywhere in the Keys. And I'm talking all the way down to Key West. Great atmosphere. Bands playing all on a weekend. They got that giant swimming pool. You're out there on the bayside. Water sports available. Anything that you want to have a great time. The sports bar has been remodeled. You can go in there, suck down a couple of cocktails, beat the heat and the air conditioning, watch a few games. It's a great place from top to bottom. And then the accommodations are exquisite. I mean, just absolutely extraordinary. Check that out at jimmyjohnsonsbigchill.com. Or, better still, next time you're heading down to the Keys or even planning a trip, make it a special occasion and head down to Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 on the Overseas Highway in Key Largo. All right, Brett Tessler, the Agent of the Stars, is coming up around the corner, and we'll yak some more. I think we've gotten to the raw essence of life, have we not, on the show today, Lubie? Very deep philosophically, this show. We don't normally delve that deeply into the depravity of thinking that you lost $1.28 million in your lifetime betting as a conservative estimate.
What do you mean? Andy said he lost 7.
Craig, who keeps bringing it up with me at the track there, I mean, he says he's in for a mill. I mean, who isn't?
Me.
What could we have done? We could have bailed out some small countries. People. Fought poverty, homelessness. Well, I mean, they've come close a few times to being there. So what the hell? I think gambling has also got me out of several jackpots too. So I can't say that it's all been bad. And plus, let's face it, what fun is it? I mean, look, you've experienced it, Lubie. If you have a couple of bucks on a game,
oh, good.
Does it not make a giant difference? I don't even care if it's $5. You start screaming. I mean, like, and getting into it like you never have, and all of a sudden, even in these stupid baseball parlays I make when I go on the road there and I have the sports book, which they do in every other state except Florida. Right? Is it now all 49 states? Alaska has sports betting. Eskimos are going in there to some igloo and going. I better be careful how I phrase this. Alaskan people are going in and freely spending their money, even if they're betting it in whale blubber. It doesn't matter. Yeah, 4 pounds on the Mets tonight. They're going to beat that kid Dunn from Long Island. Fuck him. He's going down. Some Eskimo. Get me Manfred on the phone. Got to expand this. I want to bet the first inning. No runs will be scored. That's a very popular bet. Goose eggs in the first. Have you heard of that? Was a Larry the Leaper special. I wasn't aware you could get to that level of sickness where you were betting on the fact that no runs would be scored by either team in the first inning. Which, what? Is it more common than that? No runs? It seems like a lot of starters. I mean, that's the inning. You have to get to them early, no? Lubie, there's a cliche for you. Gotta get to this guy early. Once Lefty settles down, he's untouchable.
Like, you have been reading a lot of gamblers. That's like handicapping 101.
Yeah. Get to him early. Holy Bertie Tebbets, man. I mean, what am I, Earl Weaver here on the show all of a sudden? Yeah, you got to get to him early. Come on, man. Let's go, guys. Let's rally. Who would I play in left field tonight? Lowenstein? All right. I think we're all right. Okay, we're coming back with more right here in a moment on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie. It's 12 o'clock today. Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, is also featured on Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, which that thing is steamrolling in popularity. It's absolutely amazing to me. It's incredible. A lot of fun, though, talking about food. And fortunately, he did refrain from talking about that medical procedure on the show.
He brings it up.
Don't get him started on that. Don't get him started.
I know you keep bringing it up. It's like, dude, I don't want to know.
You don't want to know. You don't want to know.
I don't. I've been clear. I'm happy he's okay, thank God, but I don't want to know. I really don't.
He associated it with one of my favorite movies, Marathon Man, a reference in these situations where you're being tortured, right? Where Dustin Hoffman is saying, what? No Novocaine? And you're like, doesn't work that way, son. How about some laughing gas? These guys didn't have much of a sense of humor. They were working on his teeth. All right. We're coming back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:22.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously. Friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305 888-453-9066.
Recently we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752. Would you?
The great Lawrence Taylor with us here at 940 Wins, 1230 The Zone. Your relationship with Parcells.
We've always been friends from the first time I met him in the University of North Carolina. And Bill was a great guy because he would get on the bus. We'd get on the bus on Sunday. You know, getting ready to play the game, we get on the bus and he'll go through his roll call. He looked down that row. He say, LT, you here? And I would say, yeah, coach, I'm here. He would say, okay, bus driver, let's go. We got enough to win.
That's great. From South Florida to the entire world, here is Defo joined by Lubie on the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. In a few minutes here, we're going to be joined by Brett Tessler, the agent to the Stars. We'll get into some material here on the National Football League. That was still one of the highlight moments of all of our years. And how many did we do, Lubie? Did we do 10 or 11
10
of Radio Rows for Super Bowl games? The first time you went, it was a new experience for you. And I knew you were going to get flattened, but there was no way to really warn you and give you the kind of heads up that you would have needed to handle this thing. Because it's just an onslaught of stuff. But we got really good at it to the point where, that was great when Lawrence Taylor threw our good friend Robin West.
Yep.
What were the odds of that? That we would have the in on Lawrence Taylor while, 50 other radio stations from around the country, maybe more, and every television network that was there, including the NFL's own network, were saying, hey, LT, over here.
Yep.
And she marched her right to our location there, and then he was immediately surrounded by 3 Hall of Famers or something that were in there. That was not. I keep qualifying this, but that was not gratuitous radio laughter.
Oh no!
Just because it was LT, and no matter what he said, we were going to. Right? He could have told us, "Hey, you know what? I'm really depressed today. My grandmother just died," and we would. You know how that goes, Libby, right? You're not even listening, but the guy says something that's completely unfunny, and everybody cracks up. Kind of like being like an anchorman on the news, right? Pretty much. Are the stuff? I mean, it would be great if they really shot stuff back and forth. Like, you know what? Your hair looks like shit today, Elliot. Instead of, I tell you what, that Madonna.
Oh,
and then everybody's like, Believe me, we've done our share of it. So we know of what we speak when it comes to gratuitous radio laughter. But, that was not the case there. I mean, he was genuinely engaging and funny. And I'm glad. I mean, who knows where he was at after he did another 40 interviews that day.
Oh, no.
I'm not sure how many he even did. He might have limited it. Because, after you say the same thing, well, I should talk over and over again for hours. It can get old, right? I mean, you see these guys. If you're like the last guy to catch somebody on Radio Row when we were doing these shows from the Super Bowl sites, and they've already done 30 interviews, and finally, you can tell the guy is trying to tell his PR people he wants to bow out. And look, can we not do that station in Miami? And then the guy says, no, I promise these guys have always been good to me. Could you please just sit down with them for a few minutes? And usually. You're getting very tired, like we did, I guess, with Rich Eisen, who I think of all of the people that we interviewed in all of our years on the Radio Row circuit, which we would do 30, 40 interviews, inside of a week.
Yep.
Was Rich Eisen not the worst of all time? Rich Eisen.
We didn't want him from the first place. They sort of were like, oh, he's on the network. We're like, all right,
please, fine. Yeah.
And then he was a jerk. He was a flat out jerk. No, he was a jerk. I don't mind saying it. Because I was offered him years later, and I said no every time. I was like, I get it. He was tired. I get it. He has a lot going on. But we would work from 8 a.m. to 5, and you would lose track sometimes of what we were doing, and no one would know. On the air, it sounded like it was the first interview we did. He's a pro. If you're a pro, be a pro. I lost a lot of respect for him because then I get it. it's taxing, and that's fine. That's why I don't ask for autographs, because I don't want to be let down. But come on, man, like we're your Miami station. Just put on 5 minutes. Like, we weren't trying to do an hour with the dude. Like, he was a jerk.
Hey, have some energy, have some life. You're a guest on a show, right? I mean, how many times do they call on people to be guests on show? I can't tell you how many I've done where, some guy from Wisconsin, now that we have Brett Tessler here, I mean, and the way we used to go on that guy, what was his name? Michael, right? He had like the big show in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And but when you're going on another guy's show, because so many people have come on our show and given us great performances and very lively conversation, you don't want to be a stiff like Rich Eisen was. He knows that. What a stiff! I root for him to trip and fall over his necktie when he is running a 40 now. That was worse even than when I sucked up to my low moment of my Radio Row lifetime was when I sucked up to Jim Gray when he came on the show.
Oh, you did?
He had some book out that I would never even be inclined to read. All right, this guy you're always listening for, and it's always great having him on the show. And we were just saying that no one is living a dream more than Brett Tessler, and well-deserved from humble beginnings in the sports agent business. Here's Brett Tessler, the agent of the stars, with us here on the show. Brett, how are you? Are you en route? Are you back? Where are you right now?
I'm just passing through Ocala.
Oh, wow.
Let me know if you want me to bring you. Yeah, let me know if you want me to bring you home a horsey or anything.
Could you ask some of those horses that are out, in the corral right now, if they could give me like part of my money back that I lost on them? You slow pigs! Unbelievable. No, that's great. Okay, so you still have a ways to go there on the turnpike with the family in tow. Is anybody getting restless in the car? Like, Dad, are we home yet? Any of that going on?
Nah, these kids are professional travelers. We've been on the road since 2 p.m. yesterday.
Wow.
And so it's about a 21-hour drive. So, yeah, we'll be home in a few hours. But, we're looking forward to being back.
Non-stop? Are you driving? What are you talking about here?
No, you have to have stopped.
You had to have stopped somewhere, no?
Non-stop.
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 Nope, non-stop.
Aside from,
Holy Magellan.
Give Lonnie credit. She drove.
Okay.
Lonnie drove about 2 hours from Atlanta to probably like northern Florida.
Oh, nice. There you go.
Wow, unbelievable. All right, well, you're back just in time for like the first week of the preseason. So, are there things that we need to know about this first game that, other than just, watch it and pay little attention? I mean, what can you derive from these first preseason games, if anything? I mean, what are some of the things that teams are really looking for in this first action? Or is it just not to get anybody hurt and see if their special teams can block a punt?
Well, you know that teams aren't really going to be opening up their playbook, especially someone like Mike McDaniel, who this is his first year coaching, and obviously, or his first year as a head coach, I should say, and obviously he's a brilliant guy, and I guarantee he's going to come here with some very interesting and fresh ideas offensively, which you are not going to be seeing in the preseason. But it does give you a chance to see how certain guys do in one-on-one matchups, certain skill position guys. And, normally a fourth year or third year, whatever two is at this point, starting quarterback, you wouldn't get too excited or really put a whole lot of thought into what they do. But, this is a little bit different. Whatever playing time he does get this preseason, I think people are going to be watching his every move extra close. And so I think for him to get off to a decent start, even in the preseason, I think is of value for him and for the team.
Brett, how do your players, I know you have players ranging from established starters to undrafted free agents who are trying to just get in there. How seriously do they take preseason? Because we sort of laugh at it, talk about how it doesn't matter. Defo literally asked, should we just get rid of it altogether yesterday? But again, you represent players where this may be make it or break it for them. So what does the preseason mean to your players? Like, what does it mean to the actual player?
Well, for the established veteran starters or superstar players, it means just, something you try to get through without tweaking a hammy or, God forbid, worse. I do believe that it's a benefit to get some action even for the top players, just to get the timing down with the center. Just the center QB exchange. Maybe get the timing down with a couple of your new skill position guys. But other than that, not a whole lot. And then for the young guys, it's everything. I mean, when I talk to some of my undrafted guys or late round picks, going into these preseason games, essentially, they need to approach it like their own personal Super Bowl.
Oh, wow.
Because their career can depend on it. And even if it's not to make the team they're with, if for whatever reason that's not possible, every other team out there is watching all this film. So if you're a young player who has to prove yourself, I mean, this is where you do it. And if you don't take advantage of these opportunities, it could very well mean the end of your career.
Brett Tessler, the agent of the stars, with us here on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie, Lubitz. Brett's appearance every week. Brought to you by a will and trust attorney, Mr. Michael D. Wild. All right, so yesterday in practice, the Jets look like it's possible they lose this Melky Becton again. Maybe, for a prolonged period of time or maybe even out for the year. He was going to be their starting right tackle. They had moved him over to the other side. Now, all of a sudden, they find themselves in a quandary because, they need to either plug somebody in there or find somebody and maybe fill a roster spot there with an offensive lineman. How does that process work? I mean, who's out there on the fringe ready to get a shot? I think they signed a guy, an offensive lineman, yesterday for a one-year deal, which looked like that was a move that was made. Maybe it was not in conjunction with the Becton injury, but what's that process like? I mean, how quickly does word get out that, hey, you see what happened there with the Kansas City Chiefs? And how quickly do you have to get to your clients to have them in a position to maybe take advantage of a situation like that?
Yeah, losing Becton definitely increases their need for help on the line, but they kind of needed it even before. And it's funny you should mention this because I got a couple calls from them last week about some players that I represent. A veteran player like Mike Remmers, who's coming off a knee injury from last season, who still has, a handful of weeks until he'll be ready to go. But, that's the kind of guy that teams will and should be very interested in because, he's battle tested, great leadership, played in big games, versatile, can play, pretty much any position on the line aside from center. So, those are the kind of guys that teams are keeping on speed dial at this time because you never know what can happen. And even prior to the Becton injury, teams are still looking for depth and versatility and leadership at the line position, especially.
Is it a given, in your opinion, that the Buffalo Bills will win the AFC Eastern Division, Brett Tessler? Because we're somehow trying to work the Dolphins into that spot. I don't know if it's going to work out that way. I was telling Lubie in the audience that the speculation seems to be that the Patriots won't win as many games as they did last year, even if Mac Jones, shows improvement at quarterback, which he wasn't bad last year, and that the Jets are the Jets. I mean, just determined to be mired in the muck there, and don't really have the goods to make a big rise. But what do you see? I mean, are the Buffalo Bills that much superior to everybody else in the AFC East, in your opinion? That we should discount the possibility of maybe the Dolphins or another team winning that division?
No, going off the results of the last couple of years, obviously you have to make the Bills the favorite. But, this is a little bit different now because with the Patriots, you've got Mac Jones coming into his second year. I was really impressed with that guy last year. I thought he did an incredible job, showed tremendous poise with limited weapons to work with. And, don't ever discount Belichick. Don't ever discount the Patriots. And, I'm happy to say for the fans of South Florida, don't overlook the Dolphins just because there's no telling what this season's going to be. It could be shockingly great. It could be disappointingly bad. You just don't know because there's a whole lot of new ingredients here, both in the roster, the coaching staff, and obviously, the Mike McDaniel factor. That's the one that, I'm as interested as anybody in seeing how it's going to work. In my dealings with the guy, and I got to know him pretty well, going through the free agency process when we signed Raheem Mostert down here. Just a very unique guy, very different. And so, this is one of those real wild card situations where, again, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if this wasn't hugely successful. And, I can't say I'd be surprised if it didn't work, just because it's just a whole new era here now with, again, the new coach and, some of the new weapons and Tua at a crossroads. So going to be very, very interested to see how this season plays out for them.
Brett, I know Raheem, I feel like you've dealt with McDaniel directly, but even if you haven't, he was Mostert's main coach in San Francisco. So I know you've talked with people who know him. Look, a lot of the time when a guy is fun and loose as a coach, it gets campy and it gets a little, cheesy. Whatever we've gotten from him, what we've heard from people like you and everyone else, it doesn't feel like that's him. Like, it feels like he is who he is, and it's just sort of, he's this new era guy, sort of like a McVay, maybe not as tough looking, but it feels like he's real. Am I wrong? Like, it feels like this McDaniel where he's taking pictures with the media and he talks about the Yeezys, but then he'll also break down an offense like he's Vince Lombardi. Like, it feels like this is just who this guy is, and to me, it seems exactly what the Dolphins have been looking for.
It's such a good point you mentioned, Lubie, that in the past when coaches attempt to be players' coaches, yes, or, they're a little bit different or maybe a little quirkier, they look a little different or sound a little different, in many cases it winds up being a disaster. But the one thing that I can give to Mike McDaniel, more so than maybe any other coach that I've dealt with, it's sincerity. He's real. He's not trying to be something he's not. And again, like I said, I just don't think there's going to be any third position, any middle ground here. I think it's going to be, very successful or not successful at all. I don't think you're going to see mediocrity. I think, between what he brings from a, playbook acumen to who he is as a person, again, just the realness that he comes across with, the sincerity, the vulnerability. There's just something about that guy that's just incredibly endearing where, as an agent, I don't really take any personal liking to any coaches. I do what's best for my client. But, when you talk to this guy, you really sense how real he is and how sincere he is. And in this business, that's something that's sometimes hard to come by. So for that reason, I know I'm pulling for the guy. I wish him the best. And I hope that the guys in the locker room are pulling for him and willing to fight for him, because if they do, this could be a whole new breed of head coach for the next generation. Because again, the dinosaurs, the Mike Zimmers, those kind of guys, it's a dying breed. Today's coach can't be a taskmaster. No more Bill Parcells. It just doesn't work. And so I think that if this works here, look forward to seeing a lot more teams going with guys like this. And again, you've seen the younger coaches get hired. You mentioned McVay. Obviously, Arizona's got a young head coach. There's some other teams that have gone that route as well. The Rams have a young coach. So the Bengals also have a young head coach. So there's other teams that are having success. Packers, exactly, with LaFleur. So it's one thing to be young. It's another thing, again, to just sort of be a little more free-spirited like McDaniel. And I think it's refreshing. I really hope the players respect and appreciate what they have in this guy, because if they do, this could be a long-term match made in heaven.
I love it, man. You got in a Larry Merchant there talking about the crossroads. Fantastic. Did you make Yeehaw Junction yet? That's always a key point for me on the journey through Florida, which is kind of boring. And I love to stop there. There's like one Chinese restaurant, I believe, in Yeehaw Junction.
I was like 3 hours away from
people say is outstanding. All right. Well, one final thing, Brett Tessler, and Brett's appearance brought to you by Will and Trust attorney Mr. Michael D. Wild. But what do we have to do? Lubie and I want to start the campaign, man, because I think this guy is getting cheesed. Watching the Hall of Fame ceremonies, how is our man Zach Thomas not in there? What do we have to do to draw attention to his plight? I mean, what do we have to do? Start running naked through the streets? How do we get Zach into the Hall of Fame? And I would imagine you share that opinion that if there was a deserving guy, let's make it happen in the next year because, we don't want it to go to the wire with Zach Thomas.
The story with Zach is people just take him for granted. He's just a tackle machine, and tackles aren't necessarily the sexiest statistic like sacks or interceptions or other things where guys can really distinguish themselves. Now that Sam Mills has gotten in, you have to wonder, when Zach's turn is because a very similar kind of player. The unfortunate thing is Zach never had an opportunity in Miami throughout the years that he was down there to really make much of a mark in the postseason. Obviously, never came close to sniffing a Super Bowl. And that's unfortunate because, for many of those years, he was one of the, maybe couple bright spots on the team along with Jason Taylor. And one thing I can tell you about Zach Thomas, he's probably the most instinctive player in the history of the NFL. I mean, it's really like that. And I've represented numerous guys who were teammates of his. Even like from when I think he was in the Hula Bowl, I represented a guy who was in that game, and he said that he's just like a cat. Like just picking off anything that came anywhere nearby, just instinctively knowing where every play was going before it went. The guy was a major studier, incredibly smart. And even though as part of his shtick, like when he was here with Larry Izzo, kind of played like, the goofy, hillbilly, whatever. This guy was brilliant. In fact, as a football player, as a middle linebacker, a flat out genius. And so this guy used every ounce of the ability that he was given and then some to, become a player that here we are talking about possible Hall of Fame, whereas this was a guy that a lot of people didn't think should ever even get drafted and certainly would never even make it with his lack of size, mediocre at best speed. It just goes to show, that if you're able to see things quick enough and react fast enough, and if you've got those kind of instincts, and if you've got that kind of intelligence, it can really increase your playing speed, because I know a lot of linebackers who run 4.3s that are nowhere near any play where, guys like this right in the middle of every play. So I definitely think he's worthy of being in the Hall of Fame. And on top of that, always been a great guy, just one of the absolute nicest people. I've never seen this guy turn a fan down anywhere. And so for all those reasons, I really hope that his day comes.
I'm ready to go to Ken, man. That could have been the acceptance speech. That was brilliant characterization of Zach Thomas. And you're right about the smarts. I mean, unbelievable. And he tried to pass himself off as a country bumpkin back in the days there. And, just was a brilliant player. All right, speaking of brilliance, nobody better at what he does than Michael D. Wild. And we see the importance because you just never know when your number is up. So you want to be prepared. I mean, you don't want to be caught with your pants down, so to speak, as many gamblers and degenerates are at that moment. Have your affairs in order. The best place to go, Michael D. Wild.
Yep, and you can reach him at southfloridawills.com. And, putting it in context of Hall of Famers, this guy's first ballot when it comes to what he does, Steve. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts. Anybody out there who needs to get their estate plans taken care of, they need to reach out to him. He's the best there is. He's done such amazing work for just such a large amount of people in South Florida, and there's just nobody more accessible, nobody more down to earth who, makes the process very quick and easy, painless. Once you get it done, you'll take a real weight off your back. Reach out to Michael Wild, southfloridawills.com.
It's funny, and the answer was yes to this, but the last time I went to have my blood pressure checked, the doctor looks at me as he's doing a thing and says, do you have a will? Now, it turned out they were pushing some guy, I guess, that works with them that does this. But I told him about Michael D. Wild, and he just nodded with approval and said, don't worry, your blood pressure's okay, and you're going to live a long time. But he knew I was in good hands. Brett, always a pleasure, man. Kissimmee, I mean, are you anywhere that we can identify with? I mean, Ocala's a long schlep. I used to make that drive when we were doing a lot of horse farm videos up there in Ocala, which is actually a beautiful spot, in the state of Florida, because it actually has some undulation and some hills. But did you make Kissimmee yet? Kissimmee.
Gainesville. He'll do Gainesville before he does Kissimmee.
Yeah. We're already approaching Kissimmee. So
nice.
Orlando
Wow,
soon.
good for you.
And, yeah, so we should be home in a couple hours.
That's what
Beautiful. All right, man. I mean, I can't believe you're doing that straight through. 2 hours from Lonnie, you said? That's all she gave you was 2 hours of to get out of town there, and you've been driving for 19 straight hours. Holy Parnelli Jones, my friend, that's unbelievable. All right, we love you, man, for coming on the show, and it's very exciting. First week of preseason, be a lot to discuss next week, and thanks so much for joining us here on the program.
Awesome, guys. My pleasure. Have a great week.
I'll talk next week.
Very good, man. What is that thing called? It sounds like a nuclear plant. Oh, the Turkey Point Plaza or something?
Turkey Point, yeah.
Is that a nuclear plant there? I mean, is that what
it is nuclear?
It really is, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Turkey Point's a nuclear thing.
How is it that you can always know that? I mean, that like something that's called Turkey Point is not a place where they raise wild turkeys.
I mean,
it's where like Kim Jong-un hangs out, trying to find out whatever the secrets are.
Turkey Point Nuclear Generating Station. That's in Homestead.
Oh, Homestead.
That's in Homestead.
Isn't there a Turkey Point rest area plaza on the Turnpike? Isn't that one of the turning points of any? I mean, that is the most dreadful drive. Talk about the total lack of scenery. All you see is, a couple of billboards when you get around Orlando there. You start seeing those billboards, the pro-life stuff. Right? I mean,
Turkey Lake. Is that what you're talking
about?
about?
Turkey Lake. Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah,
but that's one of those rest plazas where you're thinking, I really want to blast through this area here, but if you really have to pee.
See, I can't. The rest areas stress me out. It's just a lot.
I don't like stopping. I really don't.
I hate it.
Yeah. Once in a while, I mean, you can't help yourself. I mean, you've been going from Pensacola. You got to take a leak.
Oh, no. I mean, if you're driving like Tallahassee down, you stop for gas. So you have to. But like Orlando, see, the stopping from Orlando, driving with a woman is annoying and I don't want to be sexist, but I feel like this happens every time if I go with Shirley.
Oh, yes.
Grandma, their bladders. I don't know if I'm being sexist.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's experience now because I can G it out. I'm gonna go. Shirley's like an hour.
You'll pee in your pants before you would stop there. Yeah, you'd be more than happy to try to pee into a cup.
I hate stuff.
Or like a bottle, like a Gatorade or something that you're drinking.
On the side of the highway because I'm a dude, and I like stand by my car, and because that way
I don't like that. I don't like side of the road stuff. Right? Too likely to entice cops.
It's not safe. Yeah. It's not smart.
Cops, Florida. I mean, you got some real crackers there. I think Deliverance. Stopping on the side of the road on the Turnpike. Are you kidding me?
I've done it. Yeah.
Y'all got a nice car there, huh? Like, what? Where'd you come from, you hillbilly piece of shit?
Just waiting.
He's got like a live gator he's holding up. Get out of here. I don't need this, man. You start hearing banjo music in the background. No, I'm not inclined to stop on the side of the road unless absolutely necessary, which is the last thing you want to have happen on a trip like that. Dreadful drive, though. The Florida Turnpike, one of the worst drives anywhere in the United States of America. You think it's going to be scenic, right? You're going to be seeing water and the ocean, and it's nothing but just barren wasteland all the way down. Unbelievable.
See, Alligator Alley to me is the worst. Alligator Alley's gotten better, but it used to be real bad. Like,
of the 2-lane highway, I mean, which I drove a lot of that back in the day. I really did. I mean, at night, too, at like weird hours.
It just freaked me out, man.
Oh, my God.
There's no lights. There's nothing for miles. If you don't get gas before, you're like, okay.
And I wasn't exactly welcome at the Miccosukee place there. That says at the head of the turnpike. No gas. That's a whole other story for another day. All right. We're going to come back and wrap things up. I had a lot of fun today, man. I think we came to some moments of clarity on the show.
Definitely.
We're not here to educate or advise or influence you in any way.
No.
Except, hopefully you get a laugh out of it and, have some fun and then, tune in later and catch Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. But I think we accomplished something today. I really feel like today's show, really went in a direction that could be helpful to people.
Sure. That makes one of us.
In other words, we left you as confused as you were when you tuned in to begin with, and maybe even more so.
Thank God for
How about those
Tessler.
guys burying the public with the Reds yesterday? That was unbelievable. All right, back with more in a moment here on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie. Thanks to Brett Tessler for joining us while driving, man.
Yep.
While driving. I mean, is he driving two hands? He's got his whole family in a car there, man. And then I thought to suggest maybe he would have done the thing. No wonder the trip was going so well for him. Maybe he went in separate cars. Where you drive home by yourself from a long destination and the rest of the family is in another car.
His kids are older and they do a lot of this traveling stuff. So his kids are probably bred for it. Like they're not the normal.
Oh, yeah. Kids take care of themselves now, too, anyway, right? Little kids are on their cell phones doing their thing. By the way, I don't know why it bugs me. It shouldn't. I mean, I don't care what other people do. But, isn't it weird that you have like the best seat in the house for a ball game and you spend the whole time on your cell phone? I see this a lot, especially watching baseball. I mean, front row. Mike McDaniel, the guy with the jugs gun with the hat, the fedora that discovered Fernando, so they gave him a lifetime job of doing nothing. I guess you know what? It was a fair trade-off, right? Listen, Mike, you'll be behind there forever. What? $250,000 a year you want to do what? Nothing. He says, and then there came Fernando. So, but anyway, these people are even in front of Brito at the Dodger games, and just down there on the phone the whole time. I mean, everywhere, every stadium you look at, right? Little kids are on their phone, man. They're getting hit in the heads with baseballs as they're going into the stands. Crazy. Would it be possible, really, to just part ways with your phone for could you do it for 3 hours and watch a ball game?
100%.
Yeah. Why would you pay all this money? I always got a kick out of this when the people would just not even be in the stadium. They would be at a bar there at some club, like Club Live. And this, I mean, why would you pay $600 to go to a ball game, to go into a disco in the middle of the day on a broiling hot Sunday when everybody else is there to watch football? You're there, crazy, man. All right, back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:56. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in Style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. Since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapists, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Hear me. I am your new president. From this day on, the official language of San Marcos will be Swedish. Silence. In addition to that, all citizens will be required to change their underwear every half hour. Underwear will be worn on the outside so we can check. Furthermore, all children under 16 years old are now 16 years old.
What's the Spanish word for straitjacket?
Power has driven him mad.
Welcome back to the Defo Show.
All right, that was an excerpt from a Ted Cruz rally taking place in Texas this morning. That's where we're headed, I guess. I don't know. It was interesting. I mean, I knew this was going to be like a little bit of a lightning rod there, just making any kind of comment about what happened yesterday. But I couldn't help but think, like, that the Trumpster is going to be coming out of there with like a jacket over his head while he was in handcuffs, and naked. As like he was some bookie getting busted, or when they do the old racketeering thing where they round up all of the mafia guys. I don't want to imply that there is a mafia. Stay straight with all of those people. I heard you were talking about us, Defo. Nope, not a thing was mentioned. Nothing there. Vito, I assure you, your name never came up. No, not that I know of. Yeah, you're like Bateman on Ozark. No, I didn't hear anything about that. I don't think so. But I mean that was weird, and so I put that up there. The Discovery Channel special, "Naked and Afraid," Mar-a-Lago.
I mean, that was fun. I'm sorry. The one person
people are going crazy there, man. I mean, they're going nuts. They're like attacking.
This is nothing funny. I'm like, what are you talking about? It isn't funny, but for different reasons than you're talking about. Like, what are you?
It's
saying?
Amazing. You don't have to say anything though. You just I mean, this is literally an example of how easy it is to stir the political pot by just making an. I mean, I thought it would have been funny if they found Trump in a bathroom there, because I mean, they do come at like 6 a.m. and they come relatively unannounced. No, I mean, it's not like they call, hey, listen, yeah, okay, we're going to be there in 20 minutes. Why would I know this? All right, a lot of fun being with you today. I think, if you guys didn't have a good time, we certainly did. And I hope you'll join us again tomorrow. Tell your friends to subscribe. South Florida Live. Mike Mayo coming up 12 o'clock there. Mike Mayo, always, it is amazing. I think he finally has come to a realization that he might have to cut down. He might have to be a little bit more discreet and discriminating, at least in terms of the amount of food that he eats. Because he takes great pride in chomping down these sandwiches on the air. And I don't know where he's going today. What would you think, man? Does he go into the Cuban motif? He's got a long way to go, a month to go. 31 different sandwiches. That's a lot of sandwiches. No, Lubie? I mean, are you not going to have to go and double up on a couple of things? Yeah.
Well, I'm waiting for a Cuban and chicken parm.
The chicken parm there, that he gets from the pizza spot or Costa's. She's got a couple of places you can go to there. And then we really have to establish the food wars, because I think that would be vitally important. Just to decide what's better, Coke or Pepsi, that sort of thing. Which I mean, in my mind, it's a runaway for Coca-Cola. Not even close. Yeah. Pepsi's not even a poor man's substitute. In fact, when they ask you, we only have Pepsi products, is that okay? And you're like, no, it's not okay.
You make the face.
You cheap blanks. Make a deal with Coca-Cola, man. Pay the extra time. It's worth it, man. Worth it. Those guns will be, used far more frequently. All right, we'll see you tomorrow with that. Here's, we're giving the Wharton School of Business, speaking of the Trumpster. Interesting, though. I mean, I think this next episode ought to really be something, huh? What if they caught him on the toilet, Never mind.
I'm not watching any of it.
We'll see you guys tomorrow. I had a lot of fun being with you. We'll see you at 12 o'clock, too, as we leave you know that.
The time.
It's 9:03.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.